Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a review of the Michell Gyro SE turntable. It is a beautiful turntable, but does it sound as good as it looks? I'm going to be doing a complete review talking about the design features, the pros and cons, telling you about the music I listen to, and just giving my thoughts. And also, I want to talk to you about John Michell, the Michell Audio Company, who created the Michell Gyro SE turntable. Before I do that, though, I want to give a special thanks to Fidelity Imports. A few months back, I went to an audio expo in Tampa, Florida, and I went into the Fidelity Imports room. There were so many incredible pieces of stereo equipment and just different things, and I was just struck by the looks of the Michell Gyro SE turntable. The folks at Fidelity Imports answered all of my questions. They were so kind, and I ended up asking them if there was any way they would loan one of these turntables to me so that I could do a review. And they graciously said yes. And they've been so kind and so patient. I just want to say thank you so much to Fidelity Imports. Along with this turntable, they also sent me a T8 tone arm, which is a modified Rega tone arm, as well as a cartridge created by Michell Audio. It is the Cusis C-U-S-I-S-E phono cartridge. So I'm very excited to be able to talk to you about this turntable. Before I do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the legend, John Michell, the late John Michell. He had a very interesting and amazing life. Back in the 1950s, he started his engineering career by having an engineering apprenticeship. And by the mid-60s, he had his own engineering firm. And he started working with some very notable movies and creating models for those movies. He did models for 2001: A Space Odyssey. He created models for Star Wars, including the eye of C-3PO. And he then started getting into hi-fi and making really cool looking turntables. And some of his turntables have been featured on other shows and movies. But around 1982, the Gyro Deck turntable, the first one, came off of the assembly line. And it was groundbreaking, an interesting design like we've never seen before. And that is where it all started. And the Michell Gyro SE is the best-selling turntable for Michell Audio. And they continue to create beautiful turntables and build on the legacy of John Michell. The Michell Gyro SE has some really cool design features that make it stand apart from other turntables. It has a 3-point suspension system. The 3 towers are fixed to the acrylic base to hold the suspension springs in place and provide height adjustment for the subchassis. It has an impedance-matched platter. The platter is made with a material chosen for its vibration dampening qualities. And like vinyl, it has neutral sound characteristics. The brass weights add extra mass to the platter and more momentum. This helps with the speed stability as well as minimizes wow and flutter. And the motor unit stands apart from the turntable. They do not touch in any way. Also, the Gyro SE has an inverted circulating main bearing, and it is at the top of the assembly instead of the bottom. This provides lubrication for the entire bearing and also stops noise and vibration, while also that extra lubrication saves wear and tear on the bearing. So now I want to talk to you about the listening experience with the Michell Gyro SE. So In the description of my video, I'm going to list all of the stereo equipment that I was listening to while listening to the Gyro SE. And I, of course, have to say this is all subjective. What I hear in my music room might be different from what you hear in yours. I have stereo equipment that's different from yours. I have a different room. I have my own musical taste. So, of course, this is totally subjective. I'm also going to leave in the details, and I will leave a link to Michell Audio so you can check out all of the information about this turntable. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start talking about the music. And of course, I have several test records, and every time I get a new piece of equipment in my music room, I immediately grab those records, and I've talked about them on other videos. The Mobile Fidelity Alan Parsons Eye in the Sky, the Analog Productions version of the 45 RPM Ted Nugent debut album. I always listen to Stranglehold as one of my test records, as well as the Mobile Fidelity one step of Michael Jackson's Off the Wall. They're awesome. And with this turntable, it brought it to new heights. And I also want to say that I also put on my 45 RPM version of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, and it was just a magical experience. I'm not kidding. It was amazing. So what I like talking about though in these videos are the moments when I'm just sitting back, I just picked a record, I'm sitting back and relaxing, minding my own business, when all of a sudden, wham, I am put to the edge of my seat because something stands out that I've never heard before. And that happened with the Michell Gyro SE, along with my other equipment. Let me talk about a record that everybody's been talking about lately. This is Buckingham Nicks, and this is an original, but a reissue is going to be coming out very soon. It is a wonderful record. I think them in combination with John McVie, Christine McVie, and Mick Fleetwood, they were the perfect combination, and they complemented each other perfectly. But I do love the Buckingham Nicks album, and I listen to it often. I've listened to it with all the stereo equipment and turntables I've had in the past, including the turntable I still have today. I put this one on just wanting to listen to it because, like I said, it's been the talk of the town for quite a while now. And I got to the edge of my seat because I could not believe how natural and amazing Lindsey Buckingham's acoustic guitar playing was. I'd never heard it this detailed before, this beautiful, natural. I even wrote in my notes that I felt like, okay, I need to consider moving Prince out of my top 5 guitar players of all time and moving Lindsey Buckingham in that 5th spot. I still haven't made that decision of whether I want to do that or not, but that's how moved I was by the performance. I also noticed some really great a unique tambourine coming out of the right speaker, details I've never heard before that blew me away. The bass was killer on this record, and it was just amazing. And there's a song on side 2 called Django, D-J-A-N-G-O, and there's a violin on that just shivered, just goosebumps going all the way up my arms. I've never had that kind of experience with this record, even though I've always thought it sounded great. The Michell Gyro SE turned it up to another level, and I was just so impressed. Now, this next record I am going to talk to you about is one you may not even like or respect, but to be honest with you, I've loved this song since I was 10 years old. And I'm talking about Rod Stewart's Passion. And this is a 12-inch single. It's over 7 minutes. I think it's 7 minutes and 30 seconds long. These 12-inch singles sound amazing, by the way. I really was floored. I just put it on because I just was in the mood to listen to it. But I was on the edge of my seat again. Because for one, whether you like Rod Stewart's vocals or not, that's a subjective thing. but I really heard the texture in his voice as he's singing. It was amazing. The bass line of this song is absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe the detail and the feelings that it really brought out in me when I heard it. I think the piano is very menacing sounding with this song, and wow, there were moments where I felt like that piano had a three-dimensional sound was coming out to me. And, you know, the drums sounded great. Everything about this, there's a lot of instrumentation, a lot going on with this song. And I think I read somewhere where Rod Stewart said it was really complicated and a really tough recording. To put this song out, the recording was really hard, but man, it paid off. And when I put that one on with this Michell Gyro SE, I heard details I'd never heard before. It really showcased the sound stage and the imaging, all of the separations of all of the instruments. And I gotta say, there's some guitar playing that all of a sudden just punches out at you on this song. So I know it's probably not one a lot of you think, wow, why are you talking about this when you're reviewing a turntable? It's because it's one of those songs that I didn't expect to wow me, and it did. It really brought out all of the senses. I was standing on the edge of my seat listening to it. And then, of course, this is one of my favorite jazz records. And I put this one on, and I put it on a lot. It is the Craft Recordings version of Yusef Lateef's Eastern Sounds. It's probably my favorite jazz record, even though I don't think it's a classical jazz. You know, it's got a lot of different sounds going on. It's called Eastern Sounds, so that tells you all you need to know. This was mastered brilliantly, and it sounds absolutely amazing no matter what turntable you have it on. But I've played it a lot because, again, it's one of my favorites. But I was sitting back listening to it, and I was just so overwhelmed by how in the room it sounded, and how, just like Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, I felt like Yusef Lateef and company were performing in my room. And I could hear Yusef Lateef playing that oboe, and it sounded so natural, and the flute sounded so good. And he sometimes, when he's playing very softly or trying to hit some low notes, you hear this granular sound, and like I said, it sounded like he was in the room playing it for me. I could hear the details of how he positions his mouth to play those notes. Totally incredible. The piano was dead center. And at times, when the piano's being played and they hold the notes, you know, you could hear the rumble like it's in the room and the piano's being played in the room. And the cymbals are so beautiful. The drums are great. I mean, it was just an amazing performance, and I was just overwhelmed. Again, I've heard this album a lot. I've played it with all of the turntables I've ever had, and I play it often because I absolutely love it. And this Michell Gyro SE took it to another level. So let's talk a little bit about the pros and cons of this turntable. You know, I have to admit, my music room never sounded better, and I'm going to be sad to send it off because I really love it, and it really did elevate the music I was listening to. It made good records sound great, and great records sound like I've never heard them before. It did take them to another level. Now, bad records, exposed for being bad, you know, they were still bad. And if you have a record with a lot of noise, I think this turntable is very revealing, and it takes the best of the details and you get to hear those. But if you have a record in pretty bad condition, you're going to hear the clicks and pops too. It's absolutely a phenomenal turntable, no doubt about it. And it's the best I've ever heard in my music room. And I guess, I don't know if this is really a negative, it just is what it is. It's the price tag. This turntable costs anywhere from $6,000 to $7,000, maybe more, maybe less, depending on your tone arm you choose and your cartridge. The turntable I currently own works very well, and I've been very happy with it. It's about a $3,500 to $4,000 turntable, so there's a big difference. Sometimes you can honestly say, you know, for the price point, I don't really hear a difference, but I gotta be honest with you guys. I heard a big difference. I think what I currently own is worth the price I paid, every penny. It's really, really good. But I have to say that this Michell Gyro SE, if I'm being honest, it costs more and it's worth it, and I hear it. If I was to do a blind test of the two and someone asked me which one sounds more expensive, it's this one. It does. It's awesome. That doesn't mean the turntable I have now for the price point isn't awesome, because in fact, it is awesome. So I guess if there's any negatives, it's that it's a little expensive for a lot of us. For some of us, it's not at all. You can afford to buy 10 of them if you want to. So I will say though, it's honestly worth it compared to what I've heard and what the prices are. I think it's a good price for it. I think it's wonderful, and I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm going to be sad to pack it up and send it away. I'm not currently at a moment where I'm in a position to upgrade my turntable, but I will say that when the time comes, and if I can, this one would definitely be one in heavy consideration, because it's made my music room just sounds so amazing. I guess if there's any other negative, and I don't even think this is probably a negative, it does come with a clamp, and I wasn't used to using a clamp. I don't think you even have to use the clamp, but of course, because it came with it, I used it. It's just a little extra step, no big deal, and once I started using it, pretty easy. So I don't know if that really counts as a negative. It's just an extra step when you're putting on a record. Other than that, honestly, it is beautiful by design. It is a showstopper. A lot of you have noticed it when I have shown it on past videos. You're like, what is that turntable? Did you upgrade your turntable? I got a lot of questions about it because of the beauty. And I can honestly say that I think, in my opinion, in my music room with my other stereo equipment, that also deserves the praise and applause. It was really an amazing experience. So that's just my impression. And of course, my impression is subjective. Again, I will leave a link to the Michell Gyro SE turntable to Michell Audio. Special thanks to Fidelity Imports for allowing me to have this one on loan. And just remember, in the description of this video, I am going to be putting every piece of equipment that was used while listening to this turntable. I'm going to add that along with it. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. It's totally free. You don't have to pay a cent to me. It just really helps my channel out. Push the like button. That really helps the algorithm. And also hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video. Most importantly, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.